The man who wrote more of your New Testament than anyone else never once looked Jesus in the eye while he walked this earth. No shared bread by the lake. No hearing "Blessed are the poor" firsthand. No watching the cross. Just a flash of light years later, a voice from heaven, and a claim that split the early church in half. If this is how God chose to build his church, either the plan is genius or it's reckless. Which is it? Then Damascus Road. Midday. Saul of Tarsus is marching with legal papers to arrest, imprison, and, if necessary, execute more of these Jesus people. He already signed off on Stephen's death, stood there holding coats while believers threw stones until the first martyr's skull cracked open and blood ran. Stephen prayed for his killers. Saul approved. Now he's hunting more. Then, a light. Not sun. Something fiercer. It knocked him flat, stole his sight, left him eating dirt. A voice. Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Not my disciples. Me. Jesus admits every blow Saul lands on the church lands on him. 3 days. He was in total dark. No food. No water. Just the echo of murder and a God who should have killed him, but didn't. Let rewind. Saul wasn't a confused seeker. He was elite. Roman citizen, Gamaliel disciple, Pharisee of Pharisees. He knew the law cold and kept it blameless. In Epistle to the Philippians 3, he later called that life rubbish, but then he believed it made him righteous. Jesus threatened everything. A crucified Messiah? Cursed by God. Book of Deuteronomy 21 said so. Resurrection? A lie. No temple. No sacrifices. Gentiles welcomed without circumcision. To Saul, this wasn't reform. It was the collapse of Judaism. So he fought it. House to house. Families dragged away. Blood on hands he believed were clean. Here's the part almost every church skips or softens. Paul never met the historical Jesus. The 12 did. They ate with him, argued with him, saw the miracles, denied him, watched him die, touched the scars. Paul, nothing. Not one verse puts him in any gospel scene. So how does he become the voice that defines Christian doctrine for 2,000 years? Galatians 1 verses 11 to 12. He says straight, I did not receive it from any man. I received it through a revelation of Jesus Christ. No apostolic laying on of hands. No Jerusalem approval first. He goes to Arabia. 3 years. Unlearning everything. When he finally meets Peter and James. It's a handshake, not a graduation. Early Jewish Christians hated it. The Ebionites called him a liar, an apostate, a Gentile-loving heretic who threw out Moses to win pagans. They said he preached a different gospel, grace without law, faith without works, Messiah without Jewish roots. Judaizers followed him everywhere, telling his churches, Paul's wrong. You need circumcision. You need the law. But Paul fires back in Galatians. If anyone preaches a different gospel, let him be accursed, even if it's an angel. He publicly shames Peter in Antioch for caving to the Judaizers. 2 Corinthians, super apostles mock him. Real apostles have better signs, better Hebrew blood, better stories. Paul's reply drips contempt. I have more beatings, more prisons, more shipwrecks. I was stoned, left for dead. My thorn in the flesh keeps me humble. The fracture lines are still there. Romans 1 to 3. Every human is dead in sin, no exceptions. Ephesians 2. Salvation is not of yourselves, not of works. James 2. Faith without works is dead. People still argue. Did Paul hijack Jesus' simple kingdom message and turn it into a Hellenistic grace machine? Did he invent justification by faith alone? Did his revelation conveniently erase everything Jesus taught about obedience? Or is the tension deliberate, showing that even the apostles didn't agree perfectly? We religious people are pathetic. We demand pedigrees, certificates, altar calls, clean resumes. Saul had the best resume in Judaism. God treated it like garbage. We want to earn favor. Paul says you can't. You're spiritually corpses. God doesn't reform the dead. He resurrects them. We build systems to control grace. God ambushes murderers on the highway and calls them chosen instruments. Even when Ananias heard God say, "Go heal Saul," and he basically replied, "Lord, are you insane? This man wants me dead." But God said, "He is my chosen vessel, and I will show him how much he must suffer for my name." Suffer, not succeed, not prosper. Suffer. Now stop. This is no cute turnaround story. This is terrifying divine sovereignty. A God who lets his people bleed under Saul's orders, then blinds the bleeder with mercy instead of justice. Why are you persecuting me? That one sentence reveals a union so deep the head feels every wound to the body. The crucified Jesus, now risen, doesn't destroy his enemy. He claims him, absorbs his guilt at Calvary, turns the chief of sinners into the chief exhibit of patience. 1 Timothy 1 verse 16. Romans 9. I will have mercy on whom I have mercy. I will harden whom I will harden. No vote. No appeal. Paul's entire life is a proof. Grace isn't fair. It's scandalous. It picks the blasphemer, the murderer, the outsider who never met Jesus in Galilee, and makes him the clearest revealer of the risen Christ. Feel how small that makes us. Feel how vast, how untamed, how holy this God is. His plans don't bend to our logic. His mercy doesn't wait for our permission. His glory shines brightest through the wreckage of our self-righteousness. So the apostle who never met Jesus during his earthly ministry became the voice that echoes the loudest in the church today. Not because he earned it, not because the 12 voted him in, not because his resume was impressive, but because grace does not negotiate with human logic. The early church feared him. Some believers never fully trusted him. Some called him a distortion of Jesus. And yet his letters survived. His theology spread. His words now sit inside the canon you call Scripture. You inherited a faith shaped, humanly speaking, by a former persecutor. Think about that. The next time you read Romans, the next time you quote Galatians, the next time you defend justification by faith, you are standing on the testimony of a man who once dragged Christians out of their homes. A man who never heard the Sermon on the Mount in person. A man who claimed direct revelation from the risen Christ. And God chose that man to build what we now call Christianity. Grace does not ask your permission. It never does. And if Paul proves anything, it's that God builds his church with people we would never trust.